Everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I talk to internationally renowned business coach and best-selling author Brad Sugars. Welcome to the show, man.
G'day, Jason.
And today we're going to talk about mastering business success and leadership. That's a really good topic. A lot of people listening that want to know how to succeed in business. So let's talk about some of the strategies just to kind of rip the Band-Aid off on the things that generate wealth that you're aware of. Let's talk about those.
Well, if you look at wealth creation, it starts with business for cash flow, and then you want to put it into something where it can build capital gain, which is usually a real estate or a stock market position. If you want to stay active, you obviously buy and build more companies, but most people, the bandwidth of running multiple companies doesn't exist. So that's why most entrepreneurs will buy and sell companies to get that capitalization event. That's if you really want to understand wealth, it is about the capitalization events. You know, how often do you build a business and sell it? Or if you take a piece of real estate, how often do you capitalize it up and either draw down the equity and use it for other investments or sell it and take it into other investments? But then you got tax considerations. So
Of course. But
yeah, we could be on that one for hours. Yeah.
But I hear you. But let's walk through this one scenario that you just mentioned. So you're talking about buying a business and then, I guess selling it. So I, I'm very active on Reddit. And I see a lot of people on there talking about, oh, I just bought this $300,000 business and I turned it into $3 million business. Ask me anything. And then people are saying, well, how'd you do it? What'd you do? And it seems like a lot of work in between the buying to the selling. So what's your, I guess, the take home that people should, think about when you're going to buy a business? What are you looking for? Right. And then how do you take it to the next level to sell it to make a profit?
Yeah, so first of all, it's the three phases. Buying it is a separate phase to building it to a separate phase to selling. Okay. So if we're aiming to sell, which I believe most businesses should be built with the aim to sell. You don't have to sell, but if it's not saleable, then it doesn't work without you. My definition of a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So back to the buying thing, you've got to get a very clear set of rules when you're buying a business. If you're an investor, you use rules. If you're a gambler, you go on gut feel. Okay, so simple rules. Like I wrote a book, Billionaire in Training, about this, but one of the simple rules is got to have repeat business. If there's not a subscription model or a continuous product model, I don't want that business. It's too hard to continuously buy new customers all the time. You've got to have that. Another rule for me is that it's surviving despite the current owners. So you look at something where the current owners it's outgrown their ability. They don't know what they're doing.
Right.
But
they were smart enough to get it up and running, but they don't know how to really run the business.
correct. And so it's that scale factor that they don't understand. A lot of the times what I do these days, Jason, is I look for companies that are great in one location, and then I scale them in on a national or global basis, sort of thing.
Right. So you're basically taking a proven model and then you're duplicating it over and over and over again, which is really the first definition of an entrepreneur and a startup is, can it work in a niche area? And if it can, then you can start moving it into other areas. That's very typical, right? So it sounds very similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, well, when I teach people how to scale a business, one of the things that I look at, I bring them in for a week. I do a lot of training online, but I bring them in for a week and I talk to them about the $1 billion business plan. Because if you want to have an exit of 100 million, then you got to be doing a billion or more type thing. And all a billion really is X times Y. So if I've got, say, a $4 million a year restaurant, and I want to do a $1 billion company, I got to put it in 250 locations.
Right.
And so it's just an X times Y calculation. But when you say, that guy that says I bought something for 300 and sold it for 3 million, there's four basic things that add that value to it. Number one, the multiple. So if you're buying a very small business, you'll probably buy it for 1 to 2 times EBITDA. Once you get that thing over millions in EBITDA, then you can get 3 to 5. Once you get over 5, you can get 5 to 9s. Once you get above 10 EBITDA, then it's a whole other calculation type of thing, depending upon the type of buyer. So that's why you see a lot of roll-up strategies where you'll go and buy 10 of one business. You'll buy them all at 1 or 2 times EBITDA and then sell them at 3 to 5 times EBITDA type thing.
Got it.
Second thing you got to do is increase the cash flow and the regularity of that cash flow,
Hmm.
meaning don't it's got to be duplicatable. So
Right.
if you buy a business that's doing custom work all the time, you got to transfer it into a business that's doing the same product, the same service over and over and over again, and preferably on a subscription or a membership ideal so that the revenue is there. Third thing I got to do is build a management team. If it's dependent upon, it's sort of the rule of one. If it's dependent upon one customer or one person or one income
You
stream,
can't scale
then
that.
you can't sell it either because
Yeah.
it's not
It's too
valuable.
small. It's a lifestyle
So
business.
yeah, if I want to sell a business, I got to have at least a CFO and a COO and a sales or marketing manager type thing and multiple salespeople so that it's a proven model that's scalable.
I mean,
And then
I've covered this before. You talk about the fourth. I've talked about this a lot about the leadership team, and
mm,
so you're mentioning that you have to have these people in place. Now, a lot of entrepreneurs out there, they have no idea how to put together this team. They just what they're going to start asking people around, like who knows about this, that, or the third. They're going to try to
mm.
connect to people on LinkedIn. They're going to try to find people in the industry that are, a good match for what they need. But why are those people going to work with you? They've already made it in business. Why are they going to work with the small guy? So how do you put together that team?
Well, I think there's multiple things we got to look at there. One is when you start building your team, you build from the ground up. You don't try and hire management on day one.
Okay.
On day one, you try and hire the lowest common denominators. Okay. So don't hire a marketing manager, hire a marketing executive or a marketing assistant type thing that can just do the grunt work type thing. Start at that lower level positions if you're bootstrapping it and grinding, don't hire management to begin with. Start at the bottom level. Now, when it comes to recruiting, the first thing you got to do is study enough so that you know what questions to ask. So if I'm hiring a marketing manager, I really need to understand enough about marketing to be able to ask them the questions that will tell me if they're any good at this job or
Of
not. If I
course.
don't know enough, I can't ask the right questions. And all I do is hire someone with a management, the marketing degree and hope, that
So
they're good
you
type
really have
thing.
to learn everything about the industry in that you're hiring and the different departments in that you're hiring. You need to learn enough to know about,
Yeah,
those
either you
different
learn
jobs.
it or you pay someone who's learned it. So you either hire you either pay an agency, a recruiting agent. I have a recruiting company up in Canada,
Of
and
course.
you either pay us as a recruiting firm to
Shameless
do
plug.
that, or you learn enough about it. I'm a salesman from
I,
day
I
one,
I like
so
it.
never stop.
Let's jump back to your fourth point that I interrupted you on. I want to hear it.
So the first, if you take a look at the selling of a business, the fourth thing that you've got to do is start building it for sale. So, meaning you've got to actually know your number. Like, what do I want to sell it for?
Got
How
it.
do I
Got
want
it.
to sell it? Who's my buyer? And most of the time, what you're looking for is a strategic buyer. So, point four is find a strategic buyer, someone who's looking to geographically expand in your area, or someone who your customer base, they'll be able to sell their product to. Like, one of my companies in Australia is a commercial cleaning business. And we had a Japanese firm that's a coffee company approach us to buy us because they could buy the commercial cleaning business. It's running at a profit. But then when they install their coffee product into it, it's worth so much more because all of the customers that get their cleaning done also buy the coffee. Then there's, hey, presto, a whole lot more profitability. So a strategic buyer is usually the best buyer there is.
Well, people are making a mess with their coffee on the carpets, so they got to get it cleaned. So it's a kind of a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, there's more profit in the coffee than there is in the commercial cleaning. And interestingly enough, after they said, we'd like to buy you, and we said, no, not interested. We started our own coffee business and
There
did
you
it
go.
that way.
So you
So,
got an idea from it. So
yeah.
let's talk about like some common mistakes that new business owners make when they're trying to get this off the ground because this is complicated. It's not easy. It's also time consuming and expensive to do all
Mm.
of these things. So what are like maybe the top three things you can tell people to avoid doing while figuring out
Number
this?
one biggest mistake is being too cheap.
Okay.
They go in and they say, well, I'm just working from home. I can do it cheaper than the next guy. Well, you can, but you're ultimately going to lose by doing it cheap. Your business will go out of business. It's not about can you do it for cheap? It's about can you do it really well and still make a profit? Because business isn't about revenues, it's about profitability.
Right.
Number two mistake that I see them make is They don't ever plan how they're going to get new customers. So there's no marketing strategy behind it. And they go on, well, I've hung out the shingle. I see most new businesses fail for one reason. They don't allocate a marketing budget to buy customers in the beginning. They'll spend all their money on the new truck and the office or the phone system and all of that sort of stuff, but there's no budget allocated to go out and buy customers. And I keep saying that word, buy
Yeah, when you
customers.
say, I was going to say, you keep saying buy customers. What's the difference between buying a customer and just marketing to an audience?
Well, the philosophy is this. If I'm putting $1,000 into an ad campaign and I get 10 new customers, it costs me $100 to buy each one. Now,
Yep.
if I'm only selling them $50 worth of stuff, then I've bought them at a loss. If I'm
Yep.
selling them $500 and it costs me $100 to buy them, then I'm buying them at a profit.
Correct.
Marketing is profitably buying lifetime customers. So if I can put out $1 and get back three in gross profit, then that's the best marketing investment there possibly is. And that's why marketing should be an investment. If your marketing is just an expense, then you're doing it wrong. But that's a whole thing about how you, because scaling a business is, first of all, getting the system correct. What is the product? What is the system for delivery? And then it's about customer acquisition. That's really the biggest part of it once you've got that system there.
Now you got your hands in a lot of pots, and
Uh-huh.
you talked earlier about running multiple companies and not everybody can do it. How do you balance it, man? How do you balance and just having a personal brand and a personal life versus multiple companies? What's your secret to
You've
success?
got to build great people. So I build great CEOs is what I do. So, the millionaire level is where you want to be the CEO, and the billionaire level is where you employ CEOs. So, if we do hundreds of millions a year in our main company because I have great people running it, not because of me, because I have great people running it. I can run my companies in 1 hour a week, meet with the CEO 1 hour a week. And in fact, I just before coming on here, I had a meeting with one of my CEOs who I meet him only 1 hour a month. He's been with me long enough. He's great. He's my partner in the business. He knows what he's doing. It takes me 1 hour a month to run that business. So it's the building of a business is not the building of a business. The building of a business is building of people who build the business. So your job is to build you first so that you can build others second. And the more you invest in the people, see, I see it this way. How I take care of my people determines how well they take care of my customers, determines how well my customers take care of my business, determines how well my business takes care of me.
Yeah.
So I take care of and build my people. They take care of the customers, build the customer base. They build the business, and therefore
Sounds so easy when you say it like that, but
it's a lot of work. But
I was gonna say,
philosophically, yeah, philosophically it's easy, but there is a lot of work in it. And the biggest work, though, Jason, that most business people understand, this comes to my third mistake, is that they think they know enough.
hmm,
Business is never going to get easier. You've got to get better at business.
yeah,
Marketing's never getting easy. You got to get better at marketing. And so the learning is the hardest work of business ownership, because you might be a great plumber or a great hairdresser or a great accountant. Doesn't mean you're a great business owner.
right.
And what I aim to help people understand is how to be a great business owner, not just how to be great at the job of the business.
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. And so let's talk about where people can find out more about how they can learn this from you, where they can learn it, and what they might expect.
Amazon for all the books, bradsugars.com or actioncoach.com for all the coaching and all the learning. But when we put people into our scale and sale program, we really teach them how to scale their business up and how to build it for sale, because that's ultimately the objective of building a business, is creating that capital event so that you set yourself up for the rest of your life.
I love it. So you guys got to check out actioncoach.com if you need some help from Brad, because it sounds like he knows what he's doing. Scale that business, learn what you got to learn, and sell, sell, sell. Thanks, guys. Hope you learned something, and we'll see you in the next episode.